The Ultimatum South Africa may have just introduced us to the greatest reality show supervillain ever.
Get to a place where
An ugly hood rat who's bitter, who's about to. Ooh. At least he cooks, unlike you.
well, I don't know how to cook.
I'm
So
trying to learn for you.
my mom's down, so she'll make food for me if I call it.
Mama's boy. You must marry your mom then.
But I'm looking for a woman who's gonna.
Be your mom. Please take your wine and get off my bed.
What the hell is this?
Take your cheap wine and get off my bed. Please get off this bed now. Stand there if you want to talk to me. Don't come put your filthy feet with your cheap shoes in this house. And go brush your teeth before you show those horrible teeth. Go, leave. Hey, this is my patio. Leave. Okay, leave. Because you're so disrespectful. I'm so you are a wretched good rat. Leave. Leave. Calm down. Leave.
This show is the last attempt to convince their partners to either marry them or move on. One partner in the relationship wants to get married and the other partner is not ready. You definitely know that the couples on this show are facing some problems, and I identified some of these red flags which we're going to be talking about. But first of all, let's meet the lovely couples from the Ultimatum South Africa. We have Isaac and Ruth. Ruth issued the ultimatum. Lebo and Nola. Lebo issued the ultimatum. Tabby and Genesis. Tabby issued the ultimatum. Aiden and Courtney. Courtney issued the ultimatum. Kanya and Kateko. Kanya issued the ultimatum. And finally, Sizakele and Lindile. Lindile issued the ultimatum. So Lindile was the only guy to issue an ultimatum, and Kanya was the only lady to issue an ultimatum. Big red flags that I noticed as I started watching the show. Isaac tells Ruth not to call, not to text, and they're in a long distance relationship. And then Isaac has the audacity to tell Ruth that you do not call me and ask me about my day. You just told her not to call you and not to text you. Kanya tells Isaac early on that she's not interested in money. She just wants love, attention, and affection. Later on, this comes back to haunt her. Nala says that I am a one-woman man. That also comes back to prove not to be true. Tabby and Genesis have been together for 7 years, and Genesis' excuse is that he doesn't have money to pay for Tabby's bride price, or as they call it, lobola. All these years, Tabby said she has seen him saving up and buying things that he wanted, so it's just an excuse. Aiden is scared of marriage. Like, this guy just doesn't believe in marriage. And he's on the show. Lindile and Sizakele have been together for just, you guessed it, 6 months. So first of all, I was like, why are they on the show? And then things got worse because Lindile asked about marriage or started bringing up marriage when they were just 3 months in, which is very sus for me. Those were my first red flags. What do you think? Are they red flags according to you? Let me know down in the comments. So let's delve deeper into the relationships of the couple, starting with Isaac and Ruth. Isaac is very secretive in this relationship with Ruth, that Ruth feels that there's a possibility that he actually has a different family, a whole different family or a wife somewhere, because she basically doesn't know anybody from his life. She doesn't know his friends or family. And this is the reason why she brought him to the show. Isaac justifies himself by saying that in the African culture, you cannot just introduce a lady to your family if you're not sure of them. So does this mean that he's not sure of Ruth? Isaac starts acting out when he realizes that Ruth is having a good time with Nola while they were at this gathering, while they were having speed dates. Yet he himself is connecting with other ladies. So that was very double standard-ish of him. To think that Ruth does not have the right to connect with other people while he's connecting with other girls. In the trial marriage, Ruth chooses Nola and they sleep together. She owns up to this and she apologizes. She's actually one of the people in the show who is very accountable for her decisions. She takes accountability and she owns up to her messes. While Isaac chooses to go with Kanya, yet he had connected more or was more compatible with Lebo because he's looking for traditional wife qualities, which Kanya clearly does not have. Their relationship was very smooth in the beginning because it was very surface level based on looks, appearances, banter. But after they spent more time together and things got more real, they started arguing a lot. I think he would have been better off choosing Lebo, and he admits to Lebo that he's sorry that he declined. Remember, he declined Lebo's offer to be Lebo's child marriage partner. He's actually quite kinder than I thought he would be to her, but he shows Ruth a ring that he brought to the experience. And I was actually shocked because it seemed like a manipulation move. Did he really think he was gonna propose, yet they had all those issues in their relationship? Or was he just showing her that to show her in like in your face, you messed this up, you did this and that? Yet he himself was not listening to Ruth's needs and wants because Ruth was telling him, I need you to be more open, I need to meet people in your life. He goes ahead and allows Kanya to meet his friends before Ruth meets anybody in his life, which is very disrespectful to Ruth. But yet again, we were able to get introduced to Moses, who was a fan favorite.
Not eating much. Do you cook for him? Can you cook? Can you not cook? Are you a microwave cooker?
To Nola and Lebo. Nola is significantly older than Lebo, and Lebo is very insecure. She's significantly younger than Nola, and she admits that she's insecure. She doesn't trust Nola because Nola is very flirtatious. He is very smooth with his words. Nola tries to convince her that he's a one-woman man and he's only for her, but she still doesn't believe him. Lebo connects with Isaac and Aiden, and her offer to be with Isaac is turned down by Isaac, and she ends up with Aiden, while Nola accepts Ruth's proposal. Nola was able to open up to Ruth, unlike what Lebo was complaining about, that he doesn't open up to her. When he gets angry, he just shuts down and does not communicate, but he's able to communicate with Ruth. While Lebo's experience with Aiden is very friendly, they do not connect on an emotional level whatsoever, and they do not do anything to better themselves, like I felt like, because Lebo was so hell-bent on knowing what Noela is up to with Ruth, and so she doesn't trust this guy at all, and she even sneaks up on them one night, which was an invasion of their privacy. But this just shows how insecure she is, and Nola does not consider this because he was flirting, he was laughing, he was doing everything in front of Lebo. After the cheating scandal, Ruth was actually very honest and admitted to Lebo that she slept with Nola, while Nola denied doing anything intimate with Ruth to the boys and even to Isaac. They decided to leave the experience, and this was the last scene we saw from them. Courtney and Aiden. Courtney has her life figured out, she has a job, and she's ready to get married. While Aiden does not have a job and he is scared of marriage, he's scared of divorce, and he's very indecisive. Courtney feels that after dating for 7 years, she is ready to get married to Aiden, while Aiden still has his doubts. Aiden accepts the proposal from Lebo because he was in a sticky situation whereby Lebo had already got her offer turned down by Isaac, and she turned to Aiden, and Aiden had just felt like he had to accept the proposal, while in real sense he was actually more attracted and looking forward to being with Tabby. Courtney chose Genesis, and it felt like a safer option because she had eyes for Nkateko but did not go for it. And their trial marriage was very sticky, very rough because she did not open up, and Genesis was very frustrated. They did not really emotionally connect with other couples, and that was why it was very easy for them to grow their relationship during their trial marriage. They were able to become stronger, and in the end, their families met, and Aiden asked for Courtney's hand in marriage from Courtney's parents, and Courtney's parents agreed. Tabby and Genesis, they have been together for 7 years, and they come across as friends more than romantic partners. Probably the spark has died off. And the main issue is that Genesis complains about the finances to pay Lobola, while Tabby does not buy that. Genesis ends up with Courtney after Courtney chooses a safer option, while Tabby and Lindile end up together by default because everybody else had already chosen their partners. Surprisingly, Tabby and Lindile develop a very strong bond, and Lindile puts in a lot of effort that Tabby sees a difference between her experience with Genesis and with Lindile. Genesis doesn't experience much growth from his trial marriage with Courtney because Courtney is very closed off. Lobola is still very instrumental to their relationship and it's very important to Genesis and important to Tabby. Caesar and Lindile. First of all, I would like to say that I completely understand Caesar for feeling like she's being rushed because Caesar and Lindile have only been in a relationship for 6 months. Although they had been neighbors for quite some time before they started dating, I think 6 months is very little to be issuing somebody an ultimatum. Lindile gets coupled with Tabby by default, and he gets to meet Tabby's family who do not really approve of him. They doubt his intentions and they probably think he's on the show for exposure because he's an actor. While Caesar is able to connect with Nkateko after she wanted to choose Genesis, but Genesis was taken. Nkateko and Caesar actually have a lot of lovey-dovey moments, which make Lindile very jealous. Yet he is doing the same lovey-dovey things and calling Tabby lovey-dovey names. And Tabby calls him out for this because, yet again, double standards. Caesar is able to meet Nkateko's mom, and Nkateko's mom really expresses her disapproval of Kanya.
To see if Kanya has also changed.
Kanya will not change. And that woman is
And Kateko doesn't really seem to be taking his mom's advice because his mom is telling everybody that she does not like Kanya for him. The biggest problem with Kateko was when he left Caesar to confront Kanya after inciting her to go and confront her. Then he left her there and he knows how Kanya is. Kanya and Kateko, they are the most problematic couple in the show. Let me know if you agree. They just need therapy for days because Kanya is a narcissist, control freak, always wants to be the loudest in the room, and she's just so vile. She is significantly older than Kateko. She seems like she doesn't even like Kateko. She just wants to get a child. She just wants to fulfill this rule that she set on herself that she'll never get a child outside marriage, and that's why she's giving Kateko ultimatums, not really focusing on the issues that Nkateko is raising that they need to solve. She just wants a deadline, and Kateko can see all the things that are wrong with Kanya. She wants everything to go her way, but she doesn't want to do what Kateko is asking of her. Kanya actually just finds everybody boring, every other guy boring apart from Isaac, and chooses Isaac. While Nkateko and Caesar have a very strong connection to the point that he actually asks Caesar if things don't work out between their partners, they will probably meet up and see if they can give their relationship a shot. I would like to say that in an experience such as this, where emotions are very high and everybody is in a quick sequence of events, so many things are happening, it can make you act out of character. But still, I think Kanya was very excessive in everything that she did. The day of answering the ultimatum, 3 couples got engaged. Caesar and Lindile experienced the most growth and seemed stronger out of the couples that got engaged. Courtney and Aiden also experienced some growth during their trial marriage, and Courtney said that she would have actually proposed if Aiden was not ready to propose, which beats the logic of being on this show. And Tabby and Genesis wrote 2 letters, one to Tabby's family informing them of his intentions to marry their daughter, which is very sweet, and also probably about Lobola. Ruth and Isaac ended on a bad, sad note because they broke up for good, and they did not actually think they would live the experience like this, but it was probably best for them. While Kanya was issued a promise ring and she felt so mad. She was so mad. She was fuming. And then Kateko tried to propose with the promise ring and she got even more angry. Finally, let's talk about the reunion. So it was only one host who was available for the reunion, Salamina, and she did not really press the couples on some of the questions. We would have been very interested to find out from them, but there was still some shocking things that we found out, like Nola and Lebo actually got back together after the cheating scandal. Lebo decided to break up with Nola while on the reunion because Nola was clearly not sympathetic. He still did not apologize for sleeping with Ruth. We discovered that Isaac and Ruth are dating other people. They are still friends, but they're not together anymore. Three of the couples that got engaged on the day of the ultimatum, only zero have gotten married. Even Lindile and Sizakele. And yet Lindile was very pushy about giving Caesar an ultimatum after 6 months, but they still did not get married. But they did say that they would get married. They had plans to get married by the end of the year. While Aiden and Courtney are still engaged, and Aiden finally got a job. I'm so happy for him because he was very kind and very empathetic on the show. Tabby and Genesis are still not married, but they're still engaged. It's still the issue of Lobola. And another surprise is that Nkateko and Kanya have a baby together. Kachiko was actually apologizing on Kanya's behalf, and they also said that they went for therapy and they have been in therapy, and I really hope therapy works for them for the sake of the child. I was really expecting a lot of questions to be directed at Kanya because of the way she behaved, but she did mention that she did not recognize the person who was on the show, that she acted out a lot. And what did you think about the reunion? Let me know down in the comments, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, you can click here. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video.